Hey all, welcome to ShareTrack. This is Raj here. We are almost at the end of the week. As I start this recording at 8 a.m. or around 7:10 a.m., the future index futures are all red and the oil is down. Oil index is down by around 1.59%. The Fed speak was a bit of a whiplash yesterday. For this and more, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. Fed speak is panned for changes in wordings and looked at very closely, and the interpretation is felt in the indices. Either the indices go up or they go down. One of those two things happens. Yesterday, initially, the interpretation was that the Fed is going to go slow on interest rate hikes going forward, and that was a feel-good feeling. But there was a little bit more color added to it when Chairman Powell spoke to the press. He mentioned that the rate ceiling has ways to go. This added a new wrinkle to the thought process that falling interest rate hikes are only part of the story, and that the interest rate hikes will continue until the interest rate reaches a particular level, and but the hikes will be at a smaller rate. So it was a little bit of extra color to the story. This brought the market down, and at least that's my opinion based on what I'm reading elsewhere and also my own logic. Anyway, a 75 basis point hike is now in place, and we need to watch the impact on the US housing market to see how it's going to impact the overall economy. The Fed, I think, is going to keep on pushing until the inflation is brought under control. And by the time the inflation is brought under control, probably we might end up in a recession. That's the worst case that I could think of. That said, Russia is going through a lot of pain of its own as gas revenues dry up. They have tried to recruit Turkey as a middleman to distribute gas, but I suspect secondary sanctions may keep Turkey away from that venture. As in the past, they had stepped off the Russian payment system, which they initially adapted. And I think many of the merchants in Turkey did not want sanctions, secondary sanctions, and therefore I think Turkey decided to get off the Russian payment system, which was supposed to replace Visa and MasterCard, so that traveling Russians can still circumvent the sanctions and be able to pay. So that's the background out there. So I think Turkey may not take it up. And even if Turkey did take it up, setting up a gas line from Russia to Turkey and getting it operational and starting to distribute from there is a longer term process. Russia probably doesn't have the kind of funds needed to get started with the process, and probably the rest of the world doesn't have the patience to wait for another 18 months to get gas. Instead, they may start looking at alternative energy sources, probably go back to coal, do any of those things, and then get the ability to avoid taking Russian gas. So all those things are possible. So it doesn't look very good for Russia right now. Let us see how this turns out. Meanwhile, yesterday saw most of our stocks in the genomic watch list that we have drop, except for Editas and CRISPR. Those are the only two exceptions which were still in the green. And I think that is because they declared results without any bad news. It was not exactly a nothing burger. We got some ETA of when we can expect clinical trial results, but there was no bad news as such, and there was no inordinate deterioration in the cash position. So overall, they have turned out positive because the market was geared up for worse news, and it was not as bad as that. So I think they have a momentary respite. And with that said, let's go and check out the pre-market price action and see what's happening there. Yeah, welcome back. This is the TradingView platform, and we are looking at the Nasdaq futures chart. And the unfortunate message that I have to convey today is we have broken below the diagonal line of support that we were looking at yesterday. So in yesterday's market action, we actually fell. And now today, pre-market, we are already down 0.91%. So we seem to be heading towards this support out here, which is at 10,385.5. So we are still in a bear channel, and the formation seems to be similar to what happened out here. Somewhere around 23rd of March, we picked up, and then we reached June 22nd, and then we started dropping down. So we are likely to drop down, and I'm hoping that this single point validation out here for this diagonal line of support is adequate, and that this line of support holds us back because it's pretty strong out here. with the diagonal line of support coming from the resistance of the previous bear channel. But if we continue falling over the next few days, we are not going to get that support. These two will be divergent. So today the support is very strong, so we are not going to go anywhere near here. But in the next few days, if we continue falling, then we have a risk of retesting this diagonal line of support, and the chances of us falling below that is 50-50 in my opinion. Our MACD is bearish and the momentum is below average and pointed down. So as long as the momentum is below average, I think it's a bearish indication. And also 0.90% is significant enough that we can't ignore it. So I would say that the Nasdaq futures are indicating a bearish open. US oil is down 0.99%, which is a good thing in my opinion. We still have support at $88 and we have to break down below that, and we have to break down below the 10-day simple moving average, which forms the next support after it. So any downward movement is always good, but looking at the indicators out here, MACD is still bullish and momentum is still above 50%. So we hope for the best, but we'll see what happens. QQQ was down 3.43% yesterday, and it's down 0.87% again today. And we can see that we have converted two of our supports, one at 273.52 into a resistance, and the other one, which was at 268.74, also into a resistance. So our next support is going to be at 260.76. MACD is bullish but tending towards the signal line, just ready to cross over. Momentum is below average, which shows that it's a bearish indicator for today. S&P 500 is also bearish with a drop of 65.65% pre-market after falling 2.51% yesterday. And we have in the process converted two levels of support, 381.55 into a resistance, and the next level of support at 376.38 also into a resistance. And our next support is going to be 369.94. Right now, pre-market, we are at 372.48. That said, let's look at Russell. It's down 3.32% as of yesterday, and today pre-market it's down 0.73%. And we still have a support with the minor line of support at 176.61, which is pretty strong today because it has got the confluence of the 50-day simple moving average, which is this thick orange line, which is sitting at 176.86. Right now we are at 176.20. If we were to fall below this minor line of support, then we are likely to test the support at 172.47. The MACD is bullish but tending towards the signal line, almost ready to cross over to the bearish side. And momentum is still above average, but it's kind of heading downwards. So I think this is also a bearish indicator today. Dow Jones was down 1.55% yesterday, and it's down minus 0.46% this morning. And our next support is going to be 319.98. And also the 10-day simple moving average, which is this thick yellow line sitting at 319.03. We are pretty strong when it comes to Dow Jones as compared to the other indices. We are still above 50%. MACD is still very bullish. So I'm expecting that Dow Jones might probably moderate a little bit today. VIX is up 2.21% pre-market already. And as the VIX goes up, you can see that the indices will go down, but fortunately for us, the VIX is being challenged by the 100-day and the 200-day simple moving average, which is this thick blue line and the thick white line that we see out here. Both of them are sitting in the range of 26.45 to 26.63, and right now we are at 26.43. So that is going to perform the first level of resistance, failing which our next level of resistance is again going to be very strong. It's going to be at 27.20, which also is the merger of the 10-day simple moving average, which is sitting at 27.24. So that is the strong resistance out there. So I'm hoping that VIX would bounce back down out here and allow most of our indices to recover some of the losses, but I suspect that most of them may still end up in the red by the close of market. Next, let's look at the US dollars. When a US dollar index is up 0.44%, again, US dollar index going up is not good for the share market or any other asset class because funds are coming out of it. So this is again showing a bearish trend. So overall, I'm convinced that we're going to open bearish, and later on, I think we might end the day in the red, in my opinion. Let's look at the index movers and see if they suggest anything different. So I'm looking at Microsoft, which was down 3.54% yesterday, and it's down another 0.45% this morning in pre-market action, and all the indicators for Microsoft seem to show that it's not going to support the index. Apple was down 3.73% yesterday, and it's again down 1.23% this morning, in the process converting the support, which was at 146.58, into a resistance. And I think that our next support is going to be at 142.27. Right now we are at 143.25. Looking at the MACD and the momentum and the RSI, I think that Apple is not going to support the indices today. Amazon was down 4.82% yesterday, and today it's up 0.33% in a pre-market action. There's a lot of gap to be filled up on the way down. So when the Amazon share price goes up, it first has to fill up this gap before moving down. So there's a lot of buoyant pressure for Amazon. So I think Amazon might be a moderating factor on the index, but it can't hold the index up. Google was down 3.79% yesterday, and today pre-market it's down 0.30%. So again, Google, looking at the MACD and the momentum, doesn't seem to be in a good position. But once Google touches the 30% on the RSI, it's likely to bounce back up again. So Google may not bring down the index throughout the day, but it could recover later on in the evening and help the index. And I think I would probably look at Amazon also doing the same, giving a little bit of support to the index. That said, let's go and look at commodities. Wheat is down minus 1.19%, but I don't think wheat is going to stay down for longer, because Russia is again talking about canceling wheat shipments. So that's going to be a little bit of an inflationary factor, or maybe that's the reason why wheat already came up and it's now moderating a little bit. But there's definitely pressure on wheat prices. Copper is down 1.34%, and it's back firmly into the pennant that we have out here. And let's look at what happens with the pennant. I'm going to adjust the pennant a little bit out here because we have multiple points of support. So I'm going to pull this out and put it out here. And this is our new pennant out here, and we are still well within that. We still have resistance from the 10-day and the 50-day simple moving averages, which sit at 3.43 and 3.44 dollars respectively. Pre-market, I think we're already down 1.33. So we are continuing to consolidate here for wheat. Next, let's look at genomics. I have already sorted it out with the biggest losers on the top. PSCB lost the most, and it's forming the handle now, and I'm expecting it to bounce off this 10-day simple moving average and start to consolidate sideways, thus forming the handle, and then I need it to bounce back up again. Our target continues to be 11.14 until we find something out here that breaks this pattern and invalidates the cup and handle theory. IMTX was down minus 8.12, and pre-market there are no trades, and we have the support of the 100-day simple moving average, which happens to be sitting at 10.49, and our MACD is bullish but almost ready to cross over to the bearish side. And we have the momentum, which has fallen below 50%, so not looking good for IMTX. PSTX, Posida is down 7.73% from yesterday. Today there are no trades pre-market. We are still within this support and with the same support and resistance range. Invitae was down 5.94% yesterday, and pre-market there is no trade as such. I think the trade is flat. There is no change in the price, and we still have support from 2.56. Verve was down 5.10% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Intelia was down 3.97% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Allogene was down 3.78% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Illumina was down 3.72% yesterday, no trades pre-market, and we are forming the handle, and we need to bounce back off the 50-day simple moving average or the 100-day simple moving average. Otherwise, our cup and handle pattern is going to be invalidated. DNA was down 3.65% yesterday, and it's already up 1.14% pre-market. We still have resistance from 2.68, which was a support earlier, and I'm not going to change the color at this point of time. I would like to see whether we open above 2.68, in which case it will perform the first level of support, failing which we have the 10-day simple moving average sitting at 2.65, which will perform the next level of support. Next, going on to ARCG, which was down 3.39% and has no trades pre-market. Teladoc was down 2.91% yesterday, and pre-market it's already down 1.03%. We still have support from the minor line of support at 25.82 and also from the 10-day simple moving average, which is at 27.07. SQZ Biotech is down 2.74% as of yesterday, no trades pre-market. And if I look at Caribou Biosciences, it was down 2.38% yesterday, and pre-market it's already down 0.11%. Our first line of support is 9.37, followed by the 10-day, followed by the 100-day and the 200-day simple moving averages, which are the thick blue line and the thick white line respectively, sitting at 8.92 and 9.03. And if we look at Beam, it was down minus 1.71% yesterday, flat trading pre-market, and our support at 44.38 is going to be a resistance for us today. It is a minor line of support, but it's going to be the first level of resistance. IDNA was down 1.68% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Bluebird was down minus 0.63% yesterday, and pre-market we are down 0.95%, and we are still yet to test this diagonal line of support. So I'll hold on hope until we test this line of support. And next, looking at Editas. Editas was up 1.10% yesterday, and today pre-market it's down 1.09%. I have published a video on Editas reacting to the Editas earning report. It's just a small 5 to 7 minutes video. Please check that out to get my opinion on Editas. Looking at CRISPR Therapeutics was up 5.11% yesterday, and today there is no trades pre-market. And as you can see, right from 26th October onwards, this support at 52.13 has held very strongly, potentially forming a pennant out here with the diagonal line of resistance of the bear channel. So I'm hoping that we can break out above the bear channel, but according to the rules of technical analysis, because we are on a downward trend, I think this pennant is likely to break downwards, and in the process our next support will be 47.93. Let us hope that I'm proved wrong, and I'll be really happy about that. With that said, my friends, I'd like to request you to press the like if you like this video. It helps the channel. And if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe, and please press the notify button, because that will show you immediately the 2 videos that I post daily, and you can choose to watch or watch them immediately or later. Take care. Have a great day. Bye for now.